Hello, everybody. This is Wolf. So this is gonna be a little bit more of a stream of consciousness update. I've got like a notes section open to like give me an idea of what I want to say, but this isn't gonna be like scripted or anything like that. It's just kind of gonna be from my mind, and also from the notes, what exactly it is that I wanted to say to give an update on like what is going on. Why have I not uploaded anything in several months, over a year actually? So yeah, let's talk about that. So um, the first thing I want to talk about is why exactly I didn't even bother to upload a season 10 video. So remember how about like 5, 6 years ago, I kind of just like lost a hard drive that I had, and that kind of stopped me from being able to really do any kind of video content making. Yeah, that kind of happened again. So my external hard drive was on top of my computer, and then all of a sudden kind of just fell, and it made a pretty like hearty smack. I thought it was fine, and it was for about like a week and a half, and then it just died on me. Um, Tried to get it repaired, and unfortunately could not get it fixed. I had to go and get a new one, but that was like months later after I'd already relocated, which brings me to the next part I want to talk about for where I have been. So, uh, back in like early 2023, I had moved from where I live in Rhode Island to Albany, New York. And I had gone there because I was looking for a job opportunity in the career that I want to go into. And I got that job opportunity, but that's only limited for a certain amount of time. And while I was there, a mentor figure, I guess you can call them, basically informed me, hey, so I know what you want to do in this field, but if you really want to, you're gonna have to get a degree in actual like college stuff. And I was like, oh, well, that's unfortunate. Well, what kind of degree what would I need to be doing while I'm there? He said, like any kind of practice or anything like that that could really work. Like, hey, even working with a team at a university or something that could help out with that. So if you can do that kind of thing, so I was like, okay, well, uh, video production stuff, I can figure out something. So I had to relocate back to Rhode Island, where I am currently attending college. Uh, all the stuff from way back at the when I was first actually doing death battle content. Um, all the college credits I had from that transferred over to the new college I'm in. I won't say which one, but I got all of that worked through, and I'm going through college a second time. Very expensive process, admittedly, but I'm doing the best that I can with it. It was really difficult also because I also have a second channel that I've also been uploading content to. So the mix of losing the hard drive and that has kind of I've been trying to work on that. That's also part of the reason why I haven't really been making content here is I was using that second channel, kind of a private-ish channel. If you've seen me around, you might know which channel it is. You might have explored it a little bit. You probably haven't. If you haven't, that's fine. It's not really for viewing as much as it is for me to have practice with what I want to do. So that also has been taking up a good chunk of my time. Um, but yeah, I've been going through college again. I'm going to be starting up in the next semester. Let's see, I'm recording this right now on New Year's Eve. So on the 21st, I'll be going back to classes, and then uh, I'm hoping that this summer coming, I'll be able to get an internship, which is the same as the internship that I got last summer, which will once again hopefully get me further into the process of you know, getting into my dream field. Uh, that's the hope, anyway. Um, right now, though, is a very difficult time because uh, we uh, we've been having some rough times around here. So I mentioned this in Discord, but I think it'll help me out a lot better if I explain what happened. So my father, uh, he's been a big part of my life, and he just turned 80 in July. But last summer, and I mean summer of like 2024, um, somebody kind of backed into his car and hit it, and it uh, kind of started causing some health problems for him. And uh, in October, we found out that what has essentially happened was he had a blood clot in his neck, and it caused an issue. So we also found this out. Apparently, my father had a birth defect where he only had uh, arteries or veins on one side of his neck, and apparently he wasn't even supposed to make it past his first birthday, and nobody knew about this. They only found out through working through this. We weren't sure how much time we were going to have with him, but I was always checking on him in the middle of the night. I get up, have to go to the bathroom. Oh, let's go check on Dad, see how he's doing. And uh, it was starting to become. They were starting to have other health issues. He's 80, and one health issue I've always noticed is he coughs a lot. I thought it was COPD because, he was in the military in Vietnam, and he was afflicted by Agent Orange, which, if you don't know, that is a chemical that the U.S. military used in Vietnam effectively to try and drive out the enemy forces. They'd keep them in like barrels, and he'd always tell us about how, they would use those barrels, and it's like they'd give some to the people that were in Vietnam, like that were friendly, and they'd use it to like wash their clothes, or they'd fill them up with rainwater and use them to take showers, and sometimes they'd cut them in half and use them as like a barbecue pit, so they were washing themselves with this stuff. They were wearing it effectively, and they were ingesting it, and it caused several health problems for him that got passed on to the rest of our family. And um, so I thought the COPD that he had was part of that, but anytime he would have like large coughing fits, he'd also like. This is gonna get very gross, so you can mute for probably a few seconds here. But anytime he would like have coughing fits, he'd start like coughing up phlegm and stuff like that. And I thought, oh man, that part of COPD? That seems concerning. That doesn't seem like a breathing thing. Well, they've been having a lot of like health scans for him, and uh, the day after my final exam for the semester, which was actually the 11th, uh, he we got a diagnosis. Um, he actually had a CAT scan like a couple days beforehand, but they got called by their doctor who did the scan, and they said, "You need to go to the hospital like right now. We found something." And I was like, everyone in the house is panicking because I'm living with my parents while I'm in school, and what it turns out was that it was a growth on his lungs, and it turned out to be stage 4 lung cancer. And even worse is that it started to metastasize to his liver. And we were told, you'll. My mom was told he has 2 to 3 weeks left. My dad was told you have 3 to 6 weeks. He didn't even make it one. The following Tuesday, which was the 16th, on the Sunday after he got the diagnosis, he went into a coma, and 2 days later, he stopped breathing. So we lost my dad at 80 years old, like not even 10 days before Christmas, and it sucks having to deal with that. So I've been trying to work through projects because this is kind of my thing of whenever I'm upset about something, whether I'm grieving or somebody's made me angry or I don't know, just feeling like super depressed or something, I bury myself in various different projects that are going on. So I've been working on the various different projects that I have. Uh, it's been a little bit difficult as of recent, but you know, I'm doing what I can. Uh, and so I want to talk about some of the stuff I am working on. So first things first, yes, I am working on the season 10 list. I have that scripted. I just need to record it and edit it. I'm not going to give a definitive date on when it's coming out because I don't want to say, oh, it's out on this date, and then I have to like pressure myself and do, gotta get this done, gotta get this done, gotta do it now. I'm hoping that it will be done by the middle of the month before I end up returning back to my classes. On top of that, I also have the list. Basically, I know for the the 2024 and 2025 seasons, I'm combining those two seasons effectively the same way Death Battle seemed to, because if I didn't, I would have one list that was 4 entries long, and I don't think people would care for that. So I combine them all into basically a top 16, and I have an idea of what I want to talk about with those. I just need to script that out, and I'll probably start scripting that out after I'm done with the season 10 list. But I am also working on a little surprise video or celebration video to celebrate the 15th anniversary of Death Battle and just like to honor the show and everything that it's done. It's a big one, admittedly, but I'm gonna try to work on that when I can. But that is what I'm working on right now. I do, however, have some plans for the future. So, first things first is there is a project I have been essentially working on that's been in my head for 9 years now. And I want to get that done this year. And I want to try and get that done by April. I can't necessarily say it's going to be. I'm not going to make any promises again that I don't want to make a promise and then end up like not keeping it. So the goal is to try and get it done by April, but if I don't, then I'll just do my best to work on it. It is not Death Battle related, but it is something that is related to. There are characters that have been in Death Battle that are relevant-ish to this project. Some of you know what this project is. I've talked about this a few times. If you know what it is, hush. Don't say anything. I'm keeping that as a surprise. Next is the retrospectives. I want to get back into making those. I really do. The Final Fantasy one, I was on Final Fantasy 4, and all the footage I had got lost with the hard drive, so I'm going to have to re-record that. No planned schedule for when that is going to be released. One I can give you is I am going to be working on making the Mega Man X retrospectives. I've got an idea of how I'm going to record them, how they'll look, and I'm just going to record those the best that I can, get all that footage together, and basically try to get it like auto pumped out for the summer. Because I promised you guys years ago it was going to be over the summer. I want to do that for this as well. I will be working on that as a sort of like in my off time kind of thing. Especially fitting because of the that announcement that we got in the Game Awards of the new Mega Man game. I'm sure some of you have been wondering what my thoughts have been on that because I did the classic Mega Man retrospective, and my thought is, yes, I'm hyped. My boy Rock is back. Let's freaking go. So, if you're wondering what my thoughts were on that, there you go. There's my opinion. Next up is I do have that D&DB thing. I know I promised that a while ago, and you probably don't know what the heck that is. Admittedly, I am working on that with another YouTuber on here who's in the Death Battle community. Some of you might know who it is. Flawless Walrus. You might also know him as Joshua Curving. He and I are working on this. This is still very much a pre-production kind of thing. We're getting things put together for that. And definitely do not have a release date of when the heck that is. That's just going to be a coming soon kind of thing. But I'm working on it. And I'm working with him on it. When it will happen, I don't know. I can't give you any sort of definitive answer. Now, if you are aware of the second channel and you've found it or you've seen me post about it around where I am working on content for that. I had content that was supposed to be done in the fall, but my fall schedule was extremely busy thanks to classes. But with this coming semester being the way that it is, I can definitely work on it. I'll probably have that be a sort of delayed release. That I want to get stuff out for like February. Again, if you're aware of this. Now, while I do have the second channel as a thing that's going on, I do have some other channel ideas that I would kind of just like occasionally post content for. It would be stuff that's not really Death Battle related. It's not really related to what's going on the second channel. It'd just be some fun stuff. I don't know if I'll get around to any of those or how interesting it would be, but I'd probably be a little more public on what those channels are. I'd probably advertise them a little bit more on here so you guys could go and check them out, and they'd be stuff that wouldn't mess with the algorithm, but this would still be my main kind of content channel for the things that I do want to make, because this has a lot of people that watch it, and I know you guys would be interested. But the last thing, that does bring me to the last thing, is that I am planning on bringing back reactions to Death Battle episodes when they premiere, because I've been noticing a lot of people around me in the community have been doing that. I've been noticing they've been getting very popular around YouTube, and I kind of miss doing those, so yeah, I'll be getting around to those once more. So, yeah, I'm sure some of you probably super hyped about that. You get to hear my initial thoughts on episodes before the season wrap-up list comes around. So, yay for that. Other than that, there's not really anything I want to really talk about. I want to thank you guys for sticking by me with all of this. Hoping that I can get things done that you guys will enjoy. I'm going to be getting right back to the Season 10 list after this is uploaded. So, once again, thank you all for being very incredibly patient with me. And I hope you all will have a better 2026 than you did 2025. I know 2025 was a very difficult year for quite a few people, myself included. But just, you've got people around you. You can get through this. And yeah, I'm not really stream of consciousness stuff. Not exactly my not exactly the best place for me to try and be motivational on this stuff. But yeah, I'm gonna get right back to working on stuff. But until then, thank you all very much for sticking around, and hopefully things will get better soon enough. Until then, until next time that I see you guys, Just enjoy your time with your loved ones because you don't know how much time you're going to have left with them. Thank you.